Spox are a leading UK and now global company providing custom brand kits, whether that is clothing or socks. They are with you every single step of the way by bringing your idea to light. They exclusively work with fitness communities, business communities in the UK and worldwide. To check out everything that they do, head over to www.spox.uk. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom. I am your podcast host, Luke Beestall, and I have a very empowering guest that I'm just about to introduce. Her name is Alicia Teltz. She moved from Germany 12 years ago to start her life in the UK, and we're going to delve into this story. But she's a female entrepreneur with a bold voice. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Alicia, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Luke, for having me.
No,
I'm very excited.
No, honestly, I think we spoke a couple of months ago, and we was obviously sort of getting to know each other a little bit more, and I was straight away intrigued by just who you are as a person and actually what you're building. Because obviously, when we'd spoke, you'd left or just recently left a high corporate paying role going into your own business. So, just for the audience that are coming into this episode, let us know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. I always like to say I left LinkedIn
Yes.
because of LinkedIn to build a business about LinkedIn on LinkedIn. I don't know how many more times I can fit LinkedIn into that sentence, but that basically sums it up. Like my high paying job was at LinkedIn, and now I have my own business all about LinkedIn.
Okay. So, do you know with LinkedIn, how long was you working it for?
Not that long. Well,
Okay.
it depends, but like I was there for 2 years.
Right.
And this is also completely part of like the story because I worked in B2B tech sales for 15 years.
Mhm.
So SAP, MasterCard, Gartner, LinkedIn. And every time after like around 2 years, there was like the cutoff point where I felt like I'm itching for something else.
Mhm.
And in the past, it was always like the next job, the next better logo on my CV, etc. And now at LinkedIn, that was the point where I was like, actually, I want to do my own thing. But it was that 2-year mark where I was like itching again.
Yeah. So from your experience then, because obviously there'll be a lot of people watching this show and listening in that will be familiar with LinkedIn, probably already on there, putting
I
stuff
hope so.
out. I know. What was sort of the biggest thing that you'd learned from working in that corporation at
Yeah.
LinkedIn?
It's so funny because in the beginning, when I interviewed for it, they actually stepped into my DMs asking if I wanted to come and work for
Oh,
them.
really?
I still had to go through the interview process. And the funny thing is, there were 7,000 applications for my role,
No.
and I landed it, which is so cool. But it just shows like they put out a job spec and lots of people apply, but it's still a recruiter manually finding the right person.
Mm,
And luckily, they stepped into my DMs. And when I interviewed, I thought like, shit, I hope they're not going on my LinkedIn profile because it looks rubbish. I
right.
did have a LinkedIn profile and it was like nicely somewhat set up. But then I thought everyone at LinkedIn, every employee will have like a perfect profile. They post content, they know everything around the platform. Actually, they don't. And LinkedIn doesn't really encourage employees to properly show up on the platform.
Right.
Like they give you like some, in terms of like the onboarding, they give you like rock your profile PDF that you go through and you set it up, but it's so basic and
Mhm.
so boring. And then they actually, I mean, they do encourage the employees to post content, but it's not really that they give you guidelines, templates, what are the hacks, how does it work, or even telling you how the algorithm works. Because that would be magic. But no, you don't. And that was actually really surprising. Yeah.
So okay, that's interesting that you say that because obviously you would just from the outside looking in, you'd be like, oh, I bet they're all experts, they know how it all works. And for you to even say that actually you really didn't. But also for you, I think what I just sort of was drawn to there that you said that you had got headhunted, they slid into your DMs. Out of 7,000 applicants, you got the role. If you was to look back upon hindsight and reflection, what do you think the reason is that they picked you out of 7,000 people?
It is, to be completely transparent, it is my previous work experience.
Right,
So
okay.
working for like big names, that just helped immensely. Having those companies on my CV, and particularly at Gartner. For those who don't know, Gartner is like a big multi-billion-dollar like consultancy. It's like when you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, the film.
Yeah, I've
It's
seen it,
like
yeah.
it is like that. Like it
Really?
is really high pressure, hardcore. Sales is intense because you have to slip into C-level executives' inbox. It's like basically cold sales
Right.
to the most difficult people to reach. And if you are successful at Gartner, you can be successful anywhere. So Gartner is renowned for like producing the best sales talent in the world. And I used to work at Gartner. So that is like really, really interesting for any sort of tech company. And this is also what people get wrong about LinkedIn. A lot of people think it's like a social media platform
Mm.
or just like Facebook for jobs. It isn't. It is an $80 billion data software media company. So having sales talent at LinkedIn that is really good at selling technology and software, this is what they're looking for.
Okay. Okay. So, obviously, I've followed you for a while, and I do see that you talk about this a lot with Microsoft and
Yeah.
LinkedIn and all the sort of links between that. So, just obviously, if anyone's sort of now, because I mean, clawing into what you're saying, obviously, you're an expert. You've been in this world. If someone then was sort of here listening, oh, do you know what? I, I probably would want to use LinkedIn more, but I don't really know what to post. Like you say, I actually did think it was a social media platform. What would you say to those people that are wanting to utilize LinkedIn as a business platform?
Yeah. So nowadays, especially in the world of AI, what makes you unique is you. And
Okay.
the best way to show who you are is by being visible, is by putting yourself out there. And especially in like a business context, whether you're an employee or you want to start your own business or you have your own business,
Mhm.
you need visibility. And the best platform for business visibility is LinkedIn. So therefore, building a bit of an audience, putting out content, showing what your skills are, what you're an expert in, thought leadership in whatever it might be, whether you're an expert in HR, in fitness, in whatever it might be, a surgeon, like it can be anything. But just showing your skills on LinkedIn is the perfect way. And this is also how you can get headhunted. Either again, like whether you want to get like leads for your business or for your next corporate job, is like if you have a very decent profile set up and you put out content around your skills, what you do day to day, how you work with clients, etc. This is the best proof to show your future employer or your future clients
Mm.
what it is that you do.
And do you find many people do that?
No.
And what do you think the reason is, though?
So I think, so first of all, statistics say that only 1% of LinkedIn users, so there is a billion users on the platform and only 1% are active. Active meaning like they post more than once a week. So it's
Right.
only 1%. So this
Oh,
is so highly underutilized, the platform, insanely. Like anyone who now wants to start somewhat building of an audience, it's the right time. Now is the right time because it's still hardly anyone putting themselves out there. And then in terms of how to put yourself out there, that's the thing with LinkedIn is like one of those platforms where actually the more you put in, the more you get out. So on like TikTok, Instagram, etc., you can put out content and it might go viral, and this is like how it all kicks off. But LinkedIn is actually you have a lot in your own control, which is amazing because you are in charge. So when you put out content, like you engage with other people, you comment on other people's posts, you maybe start a conversation in the DMs. It's all about like building relationships. Think it of like an online networking space. You
mm.
can work with anyone in the world. Like when I started to put myself out there, there's a guy in LA. He invited me to Snoop Dogg's house. I'm still waiting for the official invitation. But you know what? I just never thought that I would speak to a random guy in
Yeah.
LA about Snoop Dogg because
Yeah.
he was basically like working on like a conference, a bit of like a business conference, but with Snoop Dogg, so making it a
Mm.
bit more fun. And they wanted to have LinkedIn as a bit of like a presence because it's all around the future of work. But this is what LinkedIn can do. Those are the doors that can open. And it was literally just like 2 months after I started posting on LinkedIn that this door opened. This is just insane. Like just by putting yourself out there and by
Right.
talking to people,
Yeah.
yeah, the opportunities are endless.
That. Well, I mean, even just putting that opportunity out there. I mean, can me and Sam tag along? I saw
I
Sam
know.
just like waving there, like nudge, nudge, wink, wink, sort of thing. Let's go.
Fucking cool is that?
That is amazing. But I think just there's some key things here that I sort of picked out from what you said, which I think will be really valuable to our audience. Is that it is putting yourself out there, but the personal, well, obviously be unique. Obviously, in a world now of AI, like you say, everything's very. I guess it's quite easy to sort of generate, say, a content post, put stuff out there. But but I think as well, just from sort of what I've seen over the years, LinkedIn can be so business focused that you feel that maybe it's not the right platform to showcase who you are
Yeah.
and your personal stuff because you feel that actually maybe you're showcasing something that people are just like, I don't want to see that. All I want to know is about how many awards you've won, how much business you're making. But you're saying actually now is the time to
Exactly.
show you off.
Exactly. And I love that you mentioned this because we all want to be entertained. And LinkedIn is also a platform where people want to be entertained. So now we see LinkedIn is going in kind of like waves. Like in the beginning, the feed was quite empty. No matter what content you put out, it kind of performed well because there was hardly anything on it.
Mm.
Then there is the world of AI where now so easy. You can put something together, perfect grammar, very polished, very perfect content,
Yes.
AI generated.
Yep.
You put it out, and now suddenly your feed is full of just the same shit. So now the next wave we're in is the personalization, is the human aspect, is the like a bit more funny and imperfect way of like
Okay.
showing up. There's a guy, a C-level executive at Blackstone, big company. He puts out corporate results like finance reviews, very stuff, like very boring corporate numbers. And he delivers them in a video whilst he's running. And it just shows like even the senior executives at like big companies, those that are a bit more like innovative and spearheading, they now show and lead the way of like how we want to consume information. And information can be like the boring numbers, but you can deliver them in a very entertaining format.
So you said he was doing that whilst running.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's insane, isn't it?
Okay, that's interesting.
But it's so cool and it's flying. Like his content performs so well, and suddenly that company is like in the spotlight everywhere because everyone is just
different.
Like, yeah,
It's unique. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, because you'd sort of be quite judgy with a C-level executive that, he must be sat in a suit, tie on,
Exactly.
and then, all presentations, all lighting and stuff. But actually, he's just being human and going, I'm out on a run.
He is just human. Exactly. And this is exactly what I always try to tell people. Like, if you're scared of posting on LinkedIn, don't be. Just show up as your true self. If you have a grammar error, fuck it. Just go with it. Just show up, say what you want to say in your own way of how you
Okay.
would say it, so that also people get a feel for like, who are you? Whether you want to get hired, they already see who you are as a person. If you want to get clients, they can already see how it might be working with you as a person. We all make emotional buying decisions, whether that is hiring or whether that is buying your services. They will buy from you. Human buy from human. And the more you can show up as the human that you are, the better it will all perform, your content, your sales, etc. And as I said, like in terms of just putting yourself out there, don't think LinkedIn needs to be that polished, perfect, boring, corporate, stiff platform. Just have fun with it. This is the new wave we're in.
Yeah, and I really like that you say that. So it's quite an exciting phase for people that are probably in a position where, they're stuck in a bit of a role that maybe they feel quite comfortable, quite fixed, that they're just following a to-do list every single day, but actually inside they feel a bit trapped, that they just want to be able to be free and feel that they can be their personal self. But actually they can, and build a fantastic business by just being themselves.
Yeah, this is exactly what I did. So for my own journey, like I always wanted to be an entrepreneur and have my own business, but I didn't know what that should be and how I should approach it. But I was thinking, like, if I have some sort of an audience, no matter what I'm going to do, whether it's a Pilates studio or if I do like consulting or whatever, if I have some sort of a following, awareness, eyeballs onto me, it will be easier to launch something.
Okay.
So when I was still at LinkedIn, I publicly put out a goal where I said, I'm now showing up on the platform. I'm actually starting to put out content because I was in my role at LinkedIn. I was advising those like multi-billion-dollar businesses on how to show up on LinkedIn and
But you
how to
wasn't
post
doing
content.
it yourself.
It's like being a personal trainer and never having picked up weights myself. So I was just teaching what I knew in theory because as I said, like us LinkedIn employees, we are not being taught on how to put out content. They say like, yeah, it would be good if you put out content, but it's not that you have like KPIs that you need to show up or it's like part of your role. You're left to your own devices. You decide whether you want to post or not. Hardly anyone does post. And so I just put this publicly out there, said like, I'm going to grow my audience to 10,000 followers within 90 days. Absolutely nuts. I had no idea whether that would be hard, whether it would be easy.
Yeah.
But also, I shared it transparently. And I think this was, for me, a bit of a safety net because I said, like, look, I have no idea if this works. I will share what works, what doesn't work, how I'm tracking. If it all fails, hey, it was an experiment. Treat me as like your LinkedIn guinea pig, someone who works at LinkedIn who actually does what we should do. And it all worked out really, really well. I did hit my goal one day before the deadline, thank God.
Wow, well done.
Yeah. And then also, this is what I said, like those conversations, those doors suddenly opened with like people that I never thought I would be able to get in touch with. And that gave me the confidence that when I want to do my own thing, I will be fine. I will be fine. I now understand how I can start conversations, how I can present myself because I've done it for like 3 months. I know what it feels like. Also, there's like this thing, we call it the cringe mountain. So when you
cringe,
the cringe mountain.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I want to hear about this.
It's basically when you start putting yourself out there, it feels cringe, especially on LinkedIn, because we, as you said, like we all think like we need to show this in perfect way.
Yeah.
And then you show up probably not in the most authentic way because you think you need to show up in a certain way and it doesn't feel true to you. So it feels even more cringe. And then you think like everyone is seeing what you're doing and judging what you're doing. Most likely hardly anyone will see it, or they don't care, or they scroll past it, or they see it and have forgotten about it the next day. But anyways, in our head, it's like everyone is looking at us and everyone remembers whatever word I'm saying. So we call it the cringe mountain. So you have to climb the cringe mountain in order to get to your land of desire. And it's just inevitable. You have to do it. And anyone who is on the cringe mountain with you, they will cheer each other on. Anyone that I see posting on LinkedIn, I think like, fuck yes, you go. And even if that post isn't perfect, I think like at least you're putting yourself out there.
Sure.
The people who will judge you or roll their eyes, if they do, they are the ones that never put out content themselves.
Okay. So I love that sort of analogy, that sort of way that, the cringe mountain to the land of say
Desire.
desire.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I really like
It's your
that.
desires.
Yeah, that's so good. So just to recap on this, because I think a lot of people will be sort of, wow, like inspirational. The fact that you was part of LinkedIn, obviously you weren't really showing up so much on LinkedIn. So if we just sort of check in on that. So at that time then, so you obviously got to 10K followers in 8 to 9 days.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Yeah, which is great. Well done. Where
Yeah.
did you start? So what did you have a following? Did you have anything or?
So I had 2,000 followers. So
Okay.
I must say that.
Yeah, that's
However,
good. Yeah.
the way how the platform works, and I mentioned it briefly in the beginning, is the more you put in, the more you get out. So that means you can have 20,000 followers, but if you accumulated them over time, you didn't engage with them, they're quite dormant. So that means if you put out a post, even if you have 20,000 followers, hardly anyone will see it because the algorithm will not amplify it. So even though I had 2,000 followers, they were quiet. So I was basically starting from zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you felt that. So obviously you got that goal. What did you sort of take away from that 90-day push of getting to that, and obviously people sort of following it?
Yeah. One, I realized what I'm actually passionate about. Because when you start posting, and obviously if you have like that tight, tough goal, you need to put out like content every day. You need to show up every day. So every day I was thinking, what do I want to talk about? Like, what is it that I want to talk about? Of course, I was talking about like what I was doing at work and like stuff. But then actually I realized what I'm passionate about and what I do want to talk about. And something that was really apparent was I want to empower people, especially women. And I launched like a book club, etc. But it was just like empowering people to find their voice, to put themselves out there and talk humanly, openly, transparently, because I was doing a very transparent, like public experiment to just say, put yourself out there, try it, do it. And then the longer I went on, the more I could then also say, based on evidence, like I've done it myself and this is what happened. The more I realized this is really what I'm passionate about.
Yes.
And this was, I think, the biggest takeaway, because by doing this experiment, I really understood what I want to do. If I then launch my own business, which I now have,
Yeah.
is empowering other people to find their voice and giving them like the strategies and the tips on how to do it.
Yeah, so you've been the leader, right? You've sort of taken that from your own experience and been like, look, I've shown you, you've seen me from here. I've talked about it quite openly every single day. And then now you're sort of helping others find their voice. And that's why obviously I introduced you as like being bold, because I think you've definitely shown that. And obviously I've followed you and you've continued to grow and you continue to sort of put yourself out there and land a lot of opportunities from this boldness. So for you in helping others sort of find their voice, what's the sort of like roadblock that you genuinely, and maybe this was roadblock that you experienced as well, because what do most people struggle with? Why is it that they don't put themselves out there?
It is the fear of being seen by others and being judged. Like it
Okay.
literally is about like what will Gary and Steve, apologies to any Garys and Steve. I actually have a few in my audience, and whenever I post, but I always take like Gary and Steve. But now I have followers called Gary and Steve, and I always make a point that I DM them and say like, "You're the good guys, don't worry."
Yeah, don't take it the wrong way.
Yeah, but it is literally about like what will other people think of me if I put myself out there.
Okay.
And I think it is like this hurdle of like the perception that you need to show up in a certain way on LinkedIn that is not authentic to you.
Sure.
But this is what I want to like really banish, like show up as your true self. And then it makes everything is just so much easier. And then also it's just like the consistency aspect. It's like any other platform, you have to show up consistently. So some people might say, okay, I do it, I put myself out there, they post once, they post twice, didn't get a lot of traction, because of course you're just in the beginning. Like it takes time. Like the first like 3, 4, 5K followers are the fucking hardest. Like it's a grind, but then it's like exponentially, because of course the larger of an audience you have and the more engaged they are, it easier is then to follow. So great if you already put yourself out there, but then sticking with it. When it's hard, you just have to stick with it.
Yeah. This is really good stuff. And I think what I want to go into, which I think a lot of people will probably not hear much of is this BTS stuff now behind the scenes. What did you have to do? Was because I think the questions I've sort of got is, was there a content schedule? Did you have 30 days mapped out, ready to go, or did you spontaneously create? Yeah, tell us a bit about, if you look at sort of the process, what do you feel was your sort of way of doing things that helped you get there?
Yeah. To be fair, like professionally, I would say absolutely have like content schedule and like think about it very strategically. I mean, this is what I now teach. Those
Okay.
are my services. This is what people pay me money for. But actually, in reality, I was stumbling my way through and I still stumble my way through. Like
Yeah.
I'm very like humble, human, authentic.
Good.
So I post whatever I feel like posting.
Mm.
So there was a time where I really thought, okay, I want to put like structure to it. And I've put like a post for every day. I planned it out and I had it ready made. But then on that day when that topic was supposed to go out, I was like, actually, I don't feel like saying this today. Like there's something currently going on in my mind. Like there was a time where I was on holiday and I was really overwhelmed. And I was during the time when I was growing my following. I was like, I was on holiday in Egypt, all inclusive hotel. And my boyfriend and I, we were laying like on the sun lounges. And I was like, shit, I need to show up on LinkedIn. I need to post. I need to engage.
Right.
And I was like, fuck. And I feel really overwhelmed and I don't want to do this. And I can't really enjoy my holiday because my head is somewhere
Mm.
else. And the post that was supposed to go out was all around like, amazing post on LinkedIn, blah, blah. But actually, I felt really shit about LinkedIn at that point.
Mm.
So I decided to cancel that post and put a real post out and said, like, I'm currently on holiday and I fucking hate my life because I'm frazzled and I feel like I have to show up on LinkedIn, etc. So I was just sharing like what I was feeling
Yeah, it was good.
in the moment.
Uh-huh.
And to be fair, I did tell my audience, like, I'm taking some time off now. I know I said consistency is key, but that means like you can take a break, but you have to get back on at some point.
Okay, this is really, so yeah, it's technically a bit like a post burnout, so you was posting, you just hit that threshold. And then obviously you was away and you still thought, oh, I've got to kind of please my audience. I've got to keep this momentum going. Maybe,
Yeah.
that FOMO fear
Yeah.
is going to kick in, that I'm going to miss out on this growth that I've been doing over the past so many months.
You know what? You might resonate with this so much more, and you can tell me from like a fitness diet
Okay.
experience as well. But it's like when you're on a diet, not every day will be perfect. But what matters is how quickly you get back onto it,
Yeah.
how quickly you are
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Like, and it's the same with like posting on LinkedIn. Don't be too hard on yourself because if you plan out this like strict like calorie counting, etc., and no sugar and this and that, it's not sustainable. And it's the same with LinkedIn. The end goal is to be consistent and to be good, but don't beat yourself up if it's not perfect every day.
Yeah, I like that, and it's so true, and this is what's great about even what you share. It does go into other different areas of your life, like anything really. I guess nothing is perfect. It's like when people say like imperfect action, but also you got to slow down, take a bit of time and space away. I'd love to know though, Alicia, where did you sort of find your voice? Where did that come from? When did you start to feel like, I'm
Yeah.
like really getting into the groove of it all?
Yeah, and being bold. So
Yeah.
it's funny. My headline now on LinkedIn is providing the most unhinged, like
Okay.
LinkedIn advice that not even LinkedIn would approve. So that is like the boldest basically you could be.
Yeah.
And I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always like the loud kid, the one that like spoke what they thought. I was actually quite shy as a kid, but
Okay.
then also I was in a relationship for quite long, for around 10 years, and I wasn't really living a life true to myself.
Mhm.
I gained a lot of weight. I wasn't comfortable with how I looked, how I felt, and that completely reflected in how I showed up because I didn't feel like I was worthy to be in the room. I didn't feel like my voice was worthy to be heard. So I actually had to make like a radical shift in my life where I exited that relationship. Bloody fucking hard.
Of course.
But then also like regaining like control over my body, how I look, how I feel. To be fair, it all fell into place. Like the second I exited that relationship, my body went back to how I used to be. Um, and the confidence just came up more and more because it is so empowering to take control of your life.
Yeah.
Exiting that relationship, um, just very quickly it was a loving relationship. Everything was perfect, but our futures weren't aligned. And how fucking hard is it to exit a relationship where everything on paper looks perfect and it is the dream for someone else,
Yeah.
but it wasn't my dream? And then getting out of that relationship is the hardest thing. But once you've done something so fucking hard, everything else seems easy. And this is also then where I started to, as I said, like regain my confidence, like physically as I felt better because I finally felt more myself. But then internally, when I was in a room, I was more like, I have an opinion and this is what I think. And like at work at LinkedIn, I was more vocal in team meetings. It was actually LinkedIn is a great culture. They applauded that. And literally my manager also, after I handed in my notice, he said like, we could really see such a transformation in you, like in the sense of you didn't know like whether you were allowed to say something in a room. I was very intimidated to now showing up not just internally, but also externally on the platform with, yeah, what I'm sharing. So oftentimes when people are just like, I don't know what to say, or like, shall I put this out? What is it really that is holding you back? Is it what other people are thinking, or is it maybe your own self-worth
Okay.
that you don't think that what you are saying is valuable? So I highly encourage everyone. Yes, of course. No matter what you want to say, it is valuable. The world deserves your voice to be heard, your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like that. And I think so many people will relate to that, probably in a way going, oh, it's so nice to hear this
Yeah.
because I'm feeling this right now. So look, you was in a 10-year relationship. Did you feel, let me just touch on, did you feel that your voice was heard in that relationship or did you feel it was sort of trapped a little? Like, how did you feel?
Yeah. Again, on paper, great boyfriend. On paper, everything great.
Okay.
We still have also a great relationship. Like we ended it amicably.
Okay.
We have a dog. We have shared custody. Like I hope this maintains in that way.
Yeah.
But it was just different futures. And then when you are with someone who you love, because I was deeply in love,
Yeah.
of course you are doing compromises. So whenever we were having conversations about our future, where we want to live, what we want to do, like I always wanted to have my own business. But he, at the same time, he was quitting his job to launch his business. So that meant we had a mortgage. That meant I had to put my goals aside. And it was actually, and I so believe in the universe, there was a time where he just launched his business and I was made redundant at a small startup that I worked for. So I was out of a job. And I thought like, oh, this is the universe telling me now you do your own business. Because like this is the perfect moment. Like I was paid for like 3 months. I had like 3 months salary, so I could just perfectly start my own business. But then having the conversations with my partner at that time was like, well, I'm out of a job now. And I was having a very high paying job. I was always earning more than he was. So it made sense for me to just have another stable job because we have a mortgage to pay. Like this is not now time for me to experiment and try something. So I had to put my goals back. So again, like whilst the relationship you're in can be all loving and nice and everything, like as I said, on paper, you're not being lied to, you're not being hit, you're not being cheated on. Like, it could be like a perfect relationship and you're deeply in love. But actually, is it maybe holding you back in like whatever shape or form? And it really crystallized when we were in a relationship and I started to voice more and more where I see my future and where I want it to go. And the more then I saw resistance from his end saying, I don't want to change anything. I'm happy with what we're doing. And this is where I just started to think, what if I'm 90 years old and I look back onto my life and I think like, you had a nice life, but this is not the life that you wanted to have, that you dreamt of as a kid. Like I wanted excitement. I wanted to do great things. I
Yeah.
know this is so vague, but like I really wanted to be empowered and I was not in an empowering relationship. And this just, crystallized more and more the more we spoke about it.
This is amazing. I really appreciate you being so open about this, Lucy,
Mm.
because I know for a fact there's so many relationships when it comes to like different paths that obviously everybody externally will come to massive shock, like, oh my, I can't believe that's just happened because it looked amazing. But obviously you was being honest, you was speaking up about where you want to take your life. Obviously, you started looking a bit into the future of your older self, getting towards the end of life and going, I don't want to be getting to 90 years old will make 90
I
and
know.
I know, I hope, yeah, looking back and going, oh, I wish I lived a life true to myself. And I think that's something I want to talk about as well, because a lot of people are not currently living a life true to themselves. I just would love to know though, where did you start to, I mean, obviously you said about LinkedIn, they was applauding your sort of speaking out. Where did that start to come from in your relationship at home? Because some people can become this really outspoken, confident person in the workplace, but then when they get home to the relationship, they just sort of get all quiet and would rather stay comfortable. Just even if they know deep down that this relationship's not really aligned. I just wondered how you brought yourself that courage to speak to your partner about your desires.
Yeah. And to be completely honest, it was a long process.
Yeah.
It's not that suddenly I had this like visualization and we spoke and then next week I moved out. Like
No, no.
it is a process. And also I want to encourage everyone, once you have like the slightest feeling of like this might not be right, listen to it because it will only get stronger and louder over time. So start whenever you start having like the slightest like itch that something is not quite right, investigate it and start talking to your partner openly about it, because it can only go one way or another. Either your partner is very open to having that conversation and very open to finding like what can we do to make you feel 100% fulfilled, or you start to realize actually this might not be the perfect partner, and there is no fucking shame in that. There is no problem. And I think this is like so many people are scared of exiting a relationship because it might look like a failure. It might look like, oh, you had something great, like why are you leaving him? Or even thinking like, what if my next partner is someone that cheats on me? Like this partner is great. Like why would I exit a relationship where everything is fine? So they rather say no to their dreams or their true self just to like maintain a vanilla partnership. But in order to have like a true life, you need to investigate. And as I said, like either you figure it out with your partner what is missing and you stay together and you figure it out, or you realize actually this might not be the right partner. And the sooner you figure that out, the better. So you just need to hone down on this. And for me, that moment was I was listening to a podcast. So I hope this is inspirational
This is
for
good.
people.
We're on
I
a
know.
podcast. Yeah, definitely.
It was a podcast by Cody Sanchez, and she was talking about, people who don't know her, she American, like worked at like Goldman Sachs, like huge, like successful corporate career. She was living like that picket fence life and realized this is not the life I envisioned for myself. And I was like, fuck yes, is she talking about me? And then she also said like she then exited that relationship and her life got so much better, because suddenly when you live a life true to yourself, it is just the most fulfilling thing. It's the same when you're like in a job and you don't really like your job. Why are you spending 40 hours a week, so much of your time in a job that is not 100% fulfilling? Like our lives are so short. Like why would we not want to live a life that is exactly how you want to live it?
Yeah, this is really good because I just want to touch on where you said about with your partner, and it didn't just happen overnight. It wasn't just one comment. It was a long process, which that means time's still moving,
Yeah,
right? So if we relate that to sort of going after your dream career, right? That you're delaying a dream, that your dream isn't an instant change, or it's not, if you like want to make, I don't know, let's say six figures, or you want to have freedom with your time, that's not just going to happen straight away. Obviously for you, you knew that something had to be let go. And that was obviously, that was the partnership at the time, well, like partner at the time. And then you also said that even you becoming who you are today with the entrepreneur, being this bold person, putting yourself out there as this LinkedIn expert, now helping other people become experts on LinkedIn. That wasn't just a straightaway thing. It takes time, and you don't want to keep delaying it.
exactly. And you have to take action, because when you take action, you can then see where things are going. You figure out what you enjoy doing, what you not enjoy doing. You learn more about yourself and you become more true and true to yourself. The more you try different things, the more you talk about things. There is a term that is like mental masturbation, which is basically like, is wannabe entrepreneurs that like are thinking about or like dreaming about having like a business, or even like I was thinking about this when I was still in my relationship, dreaming about a life outside of the relationship, but not taking any action. It only lives in your head.
Okay.
So you really need to start taking the smallest action. At least explore those feelings and think about them, but then what is the first micro action you could take? The first step, either if you want to launch a business or if you're not happy in a relationship or whatever it might be, what is like the first action to get the ball rolling? And also, as I said, like I'm a big believer in the universe, but like this is making it like become real. Like when you start talking to someone about it, this might be the first step where you say kind of to the universe, I'm getting serious here. Like I want change and I'm starting to put things into motion. And that's like a lot of people think like everything needs to be fully fleshed out. They need to have like in terms of business, they need to have a website ready. They need to have like this ready and proposals and clients and software.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, no, I don't even have a website right now. And I just had my first 20K month without even having a fucking website.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just get started and
Yeah.
figure it out along the way. So just take action.
Yeah, no, but I like that. I mean, obviously, it's taking action, but it's, I guess, for you having taken this big leap, massive. I commend that, respect that, because I mean, it must have been a seriously tough time
Yeah.
to leave that 10-year relationship behind, but also to then go into this entrepreneurial. I just love to know though, because obviously success is really coming for you now. Obviously, you've got a lot of momentum going. Have you ever had a moment, even in this entrepreneurial journey at the moment where you wanted to quit, where you decided, oh, maybe I'll just go back to that nice floating salary at LinkedIn? Have you ever felt that way, or has it just been not at all?
You know what? Normally, when I read so many self-development books, I
Yeah,
love to educate myself. And they always say like, once you get out of your comfort zone and you make a change, your body craves what it's used to. It craves like the original state because that's what you're known. I think also again, like in terms of like dieting, like I've heard, I have no idea, you need to correct me. But like when you start dieting, you have like a weight set point and your body wants you to get back to where you were. So it's actually quite hard. And it's the same with like when you exit a relationship, it's like you crave what is known. You crave to be back with like your partner because you know how it feels like, etc. Because your body, your mind is not adapted yet to your new self, to your new state. So they say in those self-development books that this might also be the case when you launch your business in terms of like when things get hard, you then might think like, oh, I just want to go back to like a corporate job because that is your comfort zone
yeah,
because you've done it before and you know it's safe. I actually never had that. Like the second I quit my job, I was just like, fuck yes, the best decision. And finally I made that decision. And not gonna lie, there were times I was crying, I was questioning things, but I never questioned whether I should go back into corporate. I was just questioning like, what should I do next? But for me, it was out of the question going back to corporate. Not saying that this is universal for everyone. It might be normal that you have those feelings, but I also think this is the sign of like it was the right decision.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, it's your story, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just obviously those feelings might creep up a couple of years down the line, but where you are in the moment and what's happened since you left your corporate role. When was that? When did you leave your corporate role?
3 months ago.
So only 3 months ago.
I know. So
Wow.
actually, it's a good point. So it might happen in the future.
Yeah, no, no, but it's just good to talk about it. Yeah,
And also, even if you were to go back to corporate, don't think that this is a failure because you might realize entrepreneurship isn't for me. You might realize, actually, I really like that structure. I really like having my colleagues around. Like, you might actually realize that's what I want to do. But thank God you tried it because you don't want to be, again, like this 90-year-old person reflecting back on your life, thinking, always worked in corporate and you never even tried. But then you can at least say, I did try. I realized it's not for me and I went back into corporate.
mm,
Absolutely fine. Because I think when I was thinking about leaving corporate, I was so scared of failure. I was so scared of like, what if it doesn't work out and I have to go back into corporate? I wasn't necessarily scared of like having to go back into corporate in terms of like financially. It was more like, what will other people think like
right.
that I failed? But even if that's the case, first of all, you should never give a shit what other people are thinking about you. But also, secondly, it could literally be that you realize I actually really like corporate and I want to go back, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, but this is really good though. I mean, obviously, I can feel your energy. I mean, obviously, I'm sure people that are watching this already they're going to feel that you've got so much drive. But the fact that you've accomplished something in 8 to 9 days, the following. Obviously, you've already said you've hit your goal of that, a 20K month. What what's been the most fun about this challenge? Because let's be honest, right? If you're going to go to a challenge or a goal, you want it to be fun. You don't want to be like dragging yourself through. So I'd just love to know what's been the most fun with this challenge.
Hitting whatever goal you set and achieving it. To be fair, that is the most fun. But I also must say, like, I used to work in sales. So like
You know,
closing deals
yeah.
was like my way of getting like my dopamine hit. So
Okay.
I always
Yeah.
love like a challenge. I always love like the hustle and then the reward of like getting it. But I think in terms of like leaving my job and having my own business, that first day, it was actually the first Monday. Like my last job was on a Tuesday, so it took like a little bit longer. But like that first Monday where I was like, this is a new week and I'm making my own fucking decisions. Like nobody
Right.
is telling me 10 a.m. team meeting, like I can make my own decisions. That is like the most insane feeling to completely be in charge of what you're doing.
Interesting. Interesting
Yeah.
that you say how that is insane because so many people that I've spoken to, even like on this show, they was like, "Oh my god, I don't like this.
Really?
I don't. Yeah, when they first started out, like, there was like, I don't like this feeling of nothing in my calendar, like,
Bloody
because they
love it.
wanted. Yeah, yeah. But this is what I'm saying. I like this because so many people's like, but I like knowing that I've got a to do list when I rock up onto my computer. I like knowing that I've got Teams meetings. I like knowing that I'm on the road and I've got to go to X, Y, and Z. But now knowing that I'm actually sat there with a blank calendar and going, the world's my
Yeah.
oyster. What do I do?
Yeah.
So for you, what did you sort of do to? Because obviously when you're in corporate, it's fast paced. It's quite intense pressure. There's a lot of stress, I guess, with it. Obviously, you've got targets to hit. How did you create something with your own journey to not to I guess to complement that or to replace that, but build this new identity.
Yeah. So I always love setting goals and I love being transparent about having
Yeah,
goals.
yeah,
So this is why I did like the whole challenge of like growing my followers. But then also for me, I had a very high paying job. So in dollars, I earned 250,000 a year at LinkedIn. So around like 25K a month in dollars. And I was scared not being able to earn as much money. Like,
yeah, of
because
course.
you always hear from like people that start their own businesses, like, it's a grind, it takes so long to like, and you need to have like at least 3 months security in terms of like your money, etc. So that was always a reason for me not to do it. To be fair, financials was always the number one reason why I delayed getting
Of
out there.
course.
And like, I mean, alongside like the other bits of like confidence, but I didn't have any savings, to be completely honest. Like I'm good at making money, but I'm also very good at spending money. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
same.
not
Ooh,
the most sensible.
yeah.
Um, I have credit card debt. So when I was getting out of my relationship, we still had a countryside house, but I had to then pay for a second property because I had to live. I exited a relationship, so I rented in London whilst I was still paying the mortgage in a
Right.
countryside house. So and that fucking sale took 12 months, almost 12 months. So I had to pay for two properties for 12 months. So that
Wow.
completely like got me into credit card debt. Like all of my savings were gone, everything. So then I thought, okay, the gurus are saying you need to have like this like rainy day like savings,
Yeah.
etc. But I didn't know when I will be able to like fill that back up. When will the time come? And I just got more and more like that itch of like finally, because as I was finding like my confidence and my voice and my boldness, I was like, I'm feeling ready. Like, why is that finance in my way? So I set myself the goal of like changing my financial mindset, because the whole advice of like, you need to have like 3 months of savings, that basically means you will not make a lot of money in 3 months. Who is saying you're not making a lot of money in 3 months?
Okay.
So this is why like I built an audience. So I knew instantly when I go out and put out a service, I already have eyes on me. So that makes it easier. So I set myself the goal to replace my LinkedIn salary within 2 months. Didn't hit it, but I hit it in the third month. So that
Wow.
just shows, set yourself a goal that helps you to stay
Yeah.
accountable, that helps you something to work towards to. But also, as you said, like it still needs to be fun and exciting. But I used to work in sales. So I must say for me personally, I always love the hustle, the
Yeah, sure.
chase. Um, but also from a, yeah, just want to reiterate from like a financial like mindset. Who says that you're not making money? Who says that you're not able to double your current salary in the first month? Who knows? Who knows?
No, I like that. I think that's is something you don't really hear very often.
Mm.
I know myself, I have to say I've been in that mindset as well where you sort of go, because obviously, I've had ups and downs in business. You sort of, how can I even get back there? I've had highs and lows, and you sort of, yeah, you limit yourself. You're in that mindset. But for you, then, if you don't mind me asking, how much debt did you get yourself into?
Yeah. So it is around 25K. So it is a
Okay.
substantial amount.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
not like
No,
life breaking,
no.
but it is enough.
Yeah.
So I try to be like clever financially. Like I moved around my credit cards, so I put it onto like a 0% like credit card, etc. So that gave me like a bit of breathing space.
Sure.
But then also, once you have breathing space, it's then also still easy to get more and more credit card debt. Like it is like when you're not having that pressure of like, oh shit, this needs to be like paid off by then because you buy yourself time, you then are easier to spend money because you don't have that pressure. So yeah, 25K. Now currently I'm paying off around like 1.5K per month of my credit card
Yeah, yeah.
debt. I mean, it helps making decent amount of
Of
money,
course.
but I'm just determined for this not to let me hold myself back. If not, it actually like really fires me up.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I honestly think it's amazing. I mean, I'm picking up pieces. Just obviously, I know you go through this, I guess, a lot day to day. But just even like people listening in, like I just want people to really take this in. Going, obviously, you're here. You're very open about your financial situation. Obviously, people will look at your profile and go, "Yeah, she's got it all together. She knows what she's doing." Obviously, you're still learning. You're in debt, but you're working on it. You're not letting that hold you back from achieving anything that you want to achieve, like fixating on a number,
Yeah.
because a lot of people would operate from a completely different stance if they had that debt.
You know what? I always like to think of like the limited mindset versus a growth mindset. limited mindset is like this kind of victim mentality.
Yeah,
And it's
sure.
also this like, I don't have enough money. I can't do it, meaning I can't make enough money.
Mm.
Whereas a growth mindset is like, you never know what next client could be around the corner. And that's the thing. When I was doing my like growing to 10,000 followers journey,
Yeah.
I was about a week before the deadline. I was around 3,000 away, 2 or 3,000 followers away. And I was like, fuck, I'm not going to hit that. I even drafted out a post already saying like, oh, I missed my goal, but like, at least it was a good experiment.
Yeah.
And then my next post went absolutely viral. You never know what's going to happen. And if you're a business owner, and this is for me currently as well, I never know what DM might land in my inbox from which company, person that want to partner with me. You never know. You just have to keep going and you might hit that like jackpot. You never know when your next client is around. So this is like, I always try to stay in this growth mindset of being like, there are so many opportunities out there. Just keep going, showing up in the best way and things will fall into place. Mel Robbins like to say, if you put in that much work, there is no fucking way that you will not be rewarded for it. So I just try to show up every day the best that I can and just trust the universe
Mm-hmm.
that things will fall into place and just be open minded that the next gang can be around the corner.
This is brilliant. And I think as well, like, yeah, you are rewarded, for your hard graft. Obviously, it's very clear to sort of feel from what you're saying that, you're saying to the audience, saying, people, we're working hard here. This is not easy. You've got to keep showing up with consistency. Obviously, you've got to have a message. You've got to be authentic to yourself and just, you never know what's around the corner. Sometimes, I mean, just so I can ask you this, when you first started this journey of like the 10K growth, did you actually have an idea what the outcome may be in terms of where you was going to take your entrepreneurial journey, or did you just find out along the way?
I found that out along the way. And
Okay.
this is also where I think I didn't delay it because in the beginning, I was thinking, what do I want to do? So if I want to grow an audience, what do I want to talk about that gears me up for the business that I want to do? But I actually just started to show up. And this is then how I realized what I'm passionate about. Because putting out content and having to talk about something, you end up talking about something you're passionate about. And this is how I realized what
Mm.
I'm actually really passionate about. It's again like taking that action almost before you're ready, because then you really realize what is the right thing that you want to do. You test and you learn and you really realize what it is rather than having it all figured out in the beginning and then get going. I mean, by all means, if you know and your gut feeling will tell you, like you will know when you're doing something, whether it feels right. If you already have that, perfect. Go ahead and talk about this. But for anyone who isn't quite sure yet, start like doing things, trying different things, whether that is putting out content and talking about a certain thing to figure it out, or just starting like businesses, just at least try something, immerse yourself into something, and then you realize whether it is for you or not. I've started so many fucking random businesses that all ended down the drain. But at least I know that wasn't for me. Amazon dropshipping, cannot recommend for me personally.
Yeah.
Maybe for other people. But if I wouldn't have tried it, I wouldn't have known. I might think tomorrow, oh, Amazon dropshipping might be amazing. But now I know, no, I tried it. It wasn't for me.
Okay, this is good though. Again, experimenting. Like say, you even said that 10K follows an experiment. You drafted a post. You're almost about to say, "Look, I've not done it, but it was great. I've learned a lot from it." You probably even put in there your takeaways. But then that one post hit, and it just sort of went there. So when did you sort of first land your paying client in your entrepreneurial journey? 'Cause it's only been 3 months. So
I
I'm just
know.
I'm just curious what that was for. How it came about.
Yeah. So again, as I said, like I love reading self-development books, and a lot of them always say like test before you launch. Try to like put out maybe
That's good.
a survey, see if people
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
have demand for what you're offering, etc. So what I did, and I actually get a slap on the hand from LinkedIn for doing that. But I was selling whilst I was still at LinkedIn. Um, Before I handed in my notice, I was selling Loom videos. So that basically means I was saying to my audience, if you need help with LinkedIn, pay me $99 and I record a video and give you like your answers. Like I review your profile and I give you some tips.
Okay.
Obviously, LinkedIn wasn't happy with that because I was
Sure.
basically like selling like LinkedIn services
Conflict.
whilst
Yeah.
I was still like, anyways, I was just at that point already, I was thinking like, I want to leave LinkedIn at some point anyway. So I was
Mm.
just like, fuck it, I just put this out there. But that also showed me like there is interest. People are willing to pay me money for that. I sold way more videos than I thought I would or
How
that I
many
could
did you?
handle.
How many did you sell? Do you reckon?
Around 100.
Wow,
Fucking nuts.
that's crazy.
And I always like to go like above and beyond and like deliver insane values in the beginning. Like every Loom video took me about an hour to record. And then I realized, fuck, I can't keep up. And then people were chasing me, where's the video? And then I started doing the videos like shorter and shorter. I got more efficient doing the
Sure.
videos. So I didn't deliver less value, but it was a grind. But that also showed me like people are paying for it. So yeah, so that just helped. That was kind of like my first clients. But actually, a US basketball player, he slipped into my DMs and he said like, can you help me with my LinkedIn? And I was still at LinkedIn. And I said like, yes, but I can't in my capacity once I'm still at LinkedIn. But once I've left LinkedIn, I can. And he was like, okay, ping me the second you're out. And the second I was out, I messaged him, said like, do you still need LinkedIn help? And he said yes. And he is still a client of mine. And he is a really cool client.
Oh my days.
He's just doing like an MBA charity event. And I'm just like, fuck yes, that's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
The fact that obviously for you, you attracted a global. Is it where is he based? Say USA.
The
Oh,
client.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the US.
So what I'm saying is LinkedIn was that platform that allowed you to attract
Anywhere,
yeah.
anywhere in the world. I was just telling you just before we started recording, I was just invited to a #1 podcast in Taiwan, which is just like fucking random.
Mad.
But it's unlimited. You can reach out to anyone. You could literally slip into like the CEO inbox of like, I don't know. I'm not sure if Tim Cook of Apple is on like LinkedIn. He might be, he might not be. But like you can literally reach out to basically anyone.
Okay.
And this is just beautiful.
Okay, this is great. Obviously, the connection piece is so good. I love that because obviously we do live in a world where we are really connected, but then we're also disconnected at the same time. And I think where your angle's coming from with the personal branding aspect, being you, is so powerful. So, just I am now. This is a deep question, not deep question, deep burning question based on what you've been sharing. Where is your following currently? Then, so obviously you've done the 0 to 10K. Where are you at currently?
Around 25, 20. I think actually 26.
So
Yeah,
26K.
26.
Okay, so how has your life changed going from the 10K to 26K?
You know what? The fucking coolest thing is being recognized. Like,
Right.
I'm not like some sort of celebrity that like I'm being stopped.
You are
like, when I go.
you're a celeb.
Thank you.
In my eyes, I was like, gosh, I've got a list here on
I
the
know.
podcast. Yeah, it's amazing.
But like, I went to conferences, and people came up to me and said like, "Are you Alicia?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like, "Oh my God, we follow you!" And I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool." It's just like insane when you're being recognized. But also the coolest thing is when they say, "You inspire me," like you empower me.
That's
like
good.
This is like you really helped me to start climbing that cringe mountain. That's the fucking coolest thing.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So personally, you're getting a lot of fulfillment from people sort of dropping you those messages saying, thank you for helping. What has it done for your business? So what has it given you back in return for that growth?
Yeah. So I mean, easiest way obviously is like lead generation. Like I have an audience. Posting on LinkedIn is like kind of like a marketing funnel. So if we think about like the top funnel is getting just eyeballs onto you. It's like visibility. But then middle funnel is like when you post about content that is more about like, this is how I help a client, or this is how I apply this skill, like a little bit more niche, a little bit more hands-on on how you actually do it. This is how, once you have eyeballs onto you, you build that credibility over time. Then bottom funnel posts are the ones where you say like, I'm open to taking on clients, like work with me.
Sure.
But nobody will work with you if they haven't seen your content and you build like the credibility.
Sure.
So just from like a marketing perspective, it's like eyeballs onto me and I can convert them. But then also it enabled me to get speaking engagements. So now I'm speaking on a very big stage next to Grace Beverly, which is really cool, on the main stage. Like just thinking about it, like just like 6-7 months ago, I was a fucking no one. And now I'm speaking on the same stage as Grace Beverly, founder of Tyler. Like it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
In such a short time. That's the thing. Like in such a short time, your life can completely flip around. And then also as like I'm now an influencer. So now I have influencer deals. I have been signed by a talent agency. They also manage Gary Barlow and like
really,
like it's really cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So whenever now companies slip into my DM saying like, we want you to do a sponsored post about us.
Sure.
And then I just forward it onto my agent. And how cool is that to say like, oh, I let my agent handle this. That's fucking cool. But yeah, I'm now getting paid for just like.
So you get paid for a post.
Yeah.
Okay.
Utilizing my audience. Like and the payment is nice. Like obvious. And I only have 25,000 followers. Again, like I only started this like 7 months ago, more or less. I'm now being paid between 1 and 2K for one fucking post. Like this is just so easy money.
Does it feel aligned though to you?
Yeah. So
that's another thing, is it? I mean, we can all be very good about, oh yeah, it's 1-2K per post, but you could be like, I'm just doing it for the money. You know, does it feel aligned to you?
I love that you asked this because I'm obviously in touch with like other creators and I see what content they are putting out. And I see there might be the same company, they sponsor them and they sponsor me. And I see their posts and I think like, that is so shit. Like,
Yeah,
because they literally, you can see it's like so inauthentic
transactional in a way.
and like so advertising as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I always do, and this is like, and this is what I'm kind of being known for, I'm being very authentic and very honest and transparent with my audience, always have been and always will be. So the first brand partnership deal I actually landed, the way how I promoted that post, so like the paid post that I put out, the headline was literally, guys, I landed my first paid partnership deal. So I was talking about like the behind the scenes kind of what it means to
Yes.
put yourself outside, like out in the world, and that it enabled me to land a partnership deal. And then I also explained like who the partner is. So obviously I mentioned the company, and then I say like they are perfectly aligned for me to advertise them because they help you with X, Y, Z. So of course I will only do partnerships that makes sense for me, for my audience, but then also where I can literally like logically explain why I think like, yeah, that is actually a good partnership. And I'm being open and transparent. So the same one is like another one just landed in my DMs. And I literally talk about like, how funny is that? I was just talking about that software and now they landed in my DMs and want to do a deal. So I talk about the storytelling of like, I was just talking about that software and a week later they landed in my DMs rather than saying, let me introduce XYZ new AI agent. It can do this, this, and this. So I do like the storytelling, the behind the scenes.
Yeah. So it feels more, like you say, it feels more authentic, genuine, and I guess as well, like even your audience, people watch it will look at it and go, yes, that's a line. Because I mean, you can see, can't you, from people when it's like say very salesy, very advertising, just purely for the transaction of
Yeah.
right, I've got paid for this post.
You know what? That's just lazy also, I think. They just put something quickly together, quick money. Like really think through it strategically. Like how do you want to present it? Anyways, just having
Yeah.
a little rant.
No, no, no. It's good though because I think a lot of people they misunderstand like influencing. They misunderstand like when you grow and where you've got to. Obviously, you're really coming across in a very good way. That look, this is what I've done. I've shown up. I've put in a lot of time and energy and effort. I've just been myself. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just sort of going with it in a way, and then the opportunity sort of found me. I've obviously sort of these opportunities that have come through have been created. You've created your own look, and it's been aligned.
Yeah. And you know what? This is what I mean as well. When you start putting yourself out there, when you do it in a transparent way and you fail with whatever it might be, and also failing is like such a shit word, but you can like literally say, like, guys, I was trying this out. It didn't go that way. Feels much better than pretending everything is great and then suddenly saying, like, oh, yeah, no longer doing this. So, by being like transparent from the get go,
Yeah.
it's so much easier to say, like, oh, I'm actually shifting and I'm thinking doing this now and doing that. This is also I wholeheartedly believe that the next like big businesses are the ones that start with visibility and attention first and the product later. So you see
I
like
like that. Yeah.
Ben Francis, Gymshark,
Uh-huh.
started off with like just sharing the behind the scenes out of his like garage and now like $1 billion valuation. Same as like with Grace Beverly when she launched Tala and Shreddy, etc. She showed up on Instagram with behind the scenes. There's also Odd Muse, the founder, Amy. She also just like shared what it means to launch a fashion business. And you share like people think, especially on LinkedIn, they need to show up as like the expert. Whether they think they're an expert or not, it doesn't matter because nobody actually truly is an expert. Because
Mm.
even like the CEO of a business, everyone has like shortcomings here and there. And I think you build expertise and credibility by being open about it. And you can say, like, look, as I said, like, I'm bloody good at making sales and I'm also bloody good at spending money. So, you just
Yeah.
like, you show, and this is like how you can show, like, these are my skills. This is what I'm really good at. Or also, if you're shifting into a new area, you can literally say, like, I'm shifting into this new area. It is new to me. I'm really fucking interested, but I'm learning. And this is what I'm learning. And look, I'm just reading this book and I'm learning this. So I'm upskilling myself. So people can literally see, like, yeah, they're becoming an expert. Now I know they upskilled themselves and they learned this and this. This is how you build expertise rather than saying, I'm a marketing expert because I read a marketing book. Like,
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. There's so many of those out there. I think that behind the scenes, that seeing it from the ground up, it definitely is. Yeah, the visibility is going to be key, and that's what a lot of people tend to like. That's where you build that audience. So if I was to be just for anyone sort of listening in here, if I was to sort of be sat opposite you and had a minute of your time, because obviously I'm somebody who's like, and I've expressed I want to start my dream business. From your experience now, I know obviously 3 months in, you've been in the corporate space, you've been in the world a long time. What would you say if you could dissect it or put it in 1 minute?
in 1 minute. If you want or have the thought of wanting to launch a business, explore that idea, take action. Don't just like ponder on it. Don't do the mental masturbation. You have to start doing something, because otherwise you don't want to be 90 years old and regret not having done it. So lean into it and then take action. But in the sense of just start a micro step, start talking about it, whether that is with friends, with family, or even on your social media, because you will be amazed how many people are willing to help you. When you start putting it out there and actually say like, I'm thinking of opening a Pilates studio. Like, what do you guys think? You will see what people are saying. And I really think like most people will put up their hand and say like, actually, I know someone and like, I can put you in touch with this and this. Like, this is the best way to just start getting it into reality. Start doing it. And then you realize, is this really what you want to do? Do you enjoy doing this or not? But how will you know if you're not at least putting in the action?
Okay. So share feedback, ask for help.
Yeah.
I like that.
Test
I
the
like that.
water.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. I absolutely love that. Well, we are getting towards the end of the episode. That was really powerful, by the way. I've got one question that I ask every single guest. I want to ask you this as well to see sort of your definition of it. So, Alicia, what does mastering your life mean to you?
Oh, I would say is being in full control and ownership of your life, meaning freedom, like in terms of time, money, just making your own decisions without any constraints. That's
I, lo-
mastering your life.
I love that. It definitely brings this episode together
Yeah.
really, really well. Well, look, if anybody wants to connect with you, so we'll put this in the show notes. Where's the best place that they can find you?
The best and only place, LinkedIn.
There you go. LinkedIn. I knew it was going to be that, but I thought I'll just ask
Imagine
you.
if I would have said TikTok.
I know. We'll be talking about LinkedIn from the get-go. Well, final thing from me, hosting you. This has been a great episode. I really appreciate you traveling up from London as well, and I'm really excited for this episode to come out. Thanks again.
Thank you, Luke, for having me.